Hello everyone. I just recently made a big update to the way that RAM works on WaxDAO, so I figured I'd just make this video and explain to you guys how this all works, and also just to cover some common misconceptions about how tokens work on Wax in general, and explain to you guys the reasons behind why I did this. So right off the bat, let's just get into it here. If you were using the platform previously, you'll remember that you deposited RAM to a specific farm, and that would cover a certain amount of NFTs. And then once you unstaked, you would get that exact amount of wax back that you deposited. That doesn't work. That's not a good design. It's not scalable. The problem with that is that we're basically exposing ourselves to the RAM price by guaranteeing that people get a certain amount of wax back. And basically that can cause us to lose a lot of money over time if we're paying for thousands and thousands and thousands of different NFTs worth of RAM and guaranteeing that people get their full wax amount back. So what we've done is we've changed that. From now on, when you stake in one of these farms, the contract is actually going to buy RAM with the wax that you deposited. It's going to use that RAM to store your data when you stake. And then when you unstake, the contract will sell that RAM and then send you the wax back. So you're still getting your money back, but you are exposed to the RAM price now. So there's no guarantee that you'll get the exact same amount of wax back. You could lose a little bit, you can make a little bit, but at the end of the day, this is the way it needs to be done, and I'll explain why now. So first, let me just give you an example, actually. If you deposit RAM on the farm here and click the deposit RAM button, let's say you deposit 1 wax and submit the transaction. You'll notice that if you refresh the page here, it doesn't say that you have a balance of 1 wax, it says you have 0.67 whatever. That's because some of your wax was just spent to create a row in our table to store your data, because that's not free on the Wax blockchain. Now, once you unstake all your stuff, that RAM will be sold, the table row will be deleted, and you'll get back however much wax the RAM is worth at that time. And then you'll also see this other option here that says open row for whatever token that the farm is giving as rewards. So in this case, the reward token is leaf, so it says open leaf row. What is this and why is it important? Basically, let's take a look at blocks real quick. And I'll pull up a token and show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. So let's use Wax as an example. Wax contract is eosio.token. And if we click on this contract tab right here, you'll see that there's a table called accounts and a table called stat. The accounts one is the important one. So if we search for our username under the scope field here, let's say I type in Mike D Crypto 5. And click refresh, you'll see that I have a balance here of 4,400 and whatever wax. That's my wax balance. Every token contract has this same feature here. There's going to be an accounts table on every token contract, and that table is going to hold the balances of all the people that are holding that token. Some people might think that when you send a token to somebody, I thought this for the longest time actually, that you're like taking some physical thing and transferring it to a different wallet. There's no such thing as a transfer. There's no such thing as a token. The whole thing is just a concept. It's not real. Like, tokens do not exist. What you have is basically there's an account where a token contract is deployed. So in this case, it's eosio.token. They have a token contract deployed there, and they store data. They store the balances of all the people holding the token. That's it. That's the whole thing. That's all there is when it comes to a token on the blockchain. There's no such thing as like a token in your wallet. You don't own a token. You don't send anybody a token. There's just this table here that holds balances. So when you say you want to transfer a token to someone, when you click transfer and you type in an amount, you're not actually taking a thing from your account and moving it to a different account. What's happening is you're telling that contract where the contract is deployed, you're telling that account, hey, look for my username in this table and see if I have a balance. So let's say Mike D Crypto 5 wanted to transfer 100 wax tokens to, I don't know, some other wax account. Well, if I try to execute that action, what's going to happen is the eosio.token contract is going to look in its table and it's going to see if there's a balance for Mike D Crypto 5. And if there is, It's going to check if I have at least 100 because that's the amount I want to send. So let's say I do. I have 4,476 here, right? It's not going to take 100 away from my balance and like move it to some other account because that's not a thing. That's not real. There's no such thing as a token. All it's going to do is it's going to go look in this table. It's going to pull up my row. And if I have 100, it's going to take 100 away from my balance. It's like an accountant. It's just going to look at the table. It's going to look at its little Excel spreadsheet here, basically. And it's just going to say, oh, okay, he's got 4,476. I'll just take away 100 from that. And it's just going to type in minus 100. That's it. That's the whole thing, right? So now my account's been debited, quote unquote debited. And then it's going to look for the receiver account. So if I was sending to some other Wax account, I don't know, let's say j2hr4.wam, and click refresh, it's going to pull up that account's balance. So you can see I actually do have a balance in this account, 5.4 Wax. So what it's going to do is add 100 to that account in its table. That's it. It's not taking a thing and moving it somewhere. It's just updating its own record. That's it. So what happens if j2hr4.wam, the receiving account, does not have a balance? It can't find it when it looks through the table because they're not holding any tokens. Well, in that case, the account who's sending the tokens now has to pay to create a row in this table. So that costs RAM. It's not free. It's not a lot of RAM. It's like 240 bytes, which is like really nothing. But at the end of the day, it's something. And if there are a whole bunch of accounts that you're sending to, you're going to have to pay a whole lot of money. So what happens when you have a service like WaxDAO, who allows you to create a farm for $10, and you can give out staking rewards to however many people you want? Well, let's say you create some brand new token, which you can do on WaxDAO, and you want to give that out as rewards. You're the first person to hold it. You just created the token. No one's ever had it before. And now 1 million users join your farm, and they're all generating rewards. Well, if WaxDAO tries to send those rewards to these million people, and none of them have held the token before, WaxDAO now has to pay for 1 million rows to be created in this table, 240 bytes each. It's a lot of money. And when we're giving away farms for $10, that's just not feasible, right? So we have two options. We can either raise our prices drastically and limit the amount of people who can get rewards from a farm, or we can just keep the really low prices and allow users to be responsible for their own data. So if you're a user and you do not hold the token, you're getting it for the first time. Instead of WaxDAO raising our prices, we're just going to allow you to create your own row in that table and store your own data. So all you would do is click this button right here that says Open Row. It's going to pull up a transaction and ask you to sign it. And actually, before I sign this, let me just, what contract is this? Leaf Main Corp. If we go to the contract and we look for j2hr4.wam, we'll see that I do not have, see, no data. I'm not holding this token. So WaxDAO right now would have to pay to create my row if the system was set up that way, if they were sending me tokens. So if I just click approve here, you can say success, you can now receive Leaf tokens. And if we go back to blocks and I click refresh, you can see that I now have a balance row. So now when WaxDAO sends my rewards, they do not have to pay to store that data because that data is already there. All that needs to happen now is the balance gets updated. And if we go to j2hr4wams.account on blocks, we can just pull up that last transaction that just happened, the open action, click on it, and see RAM deltas, j2hr4.wam consumed 240 bytes. So that's how that works. That's why this is being done. And I just figured I would clear that up because I know I'm going to be asked this question by like 9,000 people when they go to claim their rewards and it says, you don't have a balance. That's what this open row is about. That's what the error is about if you get one when you try to claim. And if you have any questions, just join the Telegram. There's a link right at the top of WaxDAO. Big Telegram button. See you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.